Mia. Hi, Soph. Good morning. Happy 5 months, little angels. Happy 5 months. Maxie wants a little kissy. I also got the cutest photo of them this morning. Look at their arms. They're always twinning. Hello, Mia. Wow. Are you watching the sissies? You're such a good big brother. Sophia has the hiccupies. Don't you, Soph? Yeah, there we go. Oh my God, they're holding hands. If they can see me with the camera, they'll stop doing it. So I'm trying to stand a little bit afar. Oh my goodness. Good morning. So, just about to make my coffee latte. Very, very needed this morning. Mama Bear's tired. I'm gonna go with this one. I sometimes though will have another one throughout the day and I'll just do the same one, or if I want to have a smaller one. But yeah, this coffee is very needed this morning. So we just had these arrive and they are from Amazon. They are the Fisher Price little chairs. Hi Max, good morning. Good morning. And I'll leave a link down below on the ones that I got, but it's called the Sit Me Up floor seat. So they can be in it until they're 25 pounds, just so you know. But it also says not to use it until they can fully lift their head on their own. They are used only when a child can support their head. So the girlies, I don't think can go in these quite yet because they can't do that, but they are getting a lot better. So we'll definitely be able to use these soon. I just thought they would be good to buy right now. The girls are sleeping right now, so I thought this would be the perfect time to take some flat lays of my new brushes. So I'm gonna sit you right here. This is how I do it. It's my professional shots that I take from my shop. So I used to film with this, but it's just a lot easier for me to film with the G7X. If you were wondering, that is the camera I use all the time. I will link it down below. So I mean, I love that. Ryan got me this though, and it's a really beautiful camera, and it's the Mark, I'm so bad with 5D Mark, so that's the one I have. And takes beautiful shots. So I definitely always take my shots with this. And the photos I post on Instagram too, I use this camera. So that's what it looks like right now, and then I do editing, cropping, and everything like that just on my online phone apps. Or I use PicMonkey or Canvas as well, is really good. If you ever want me to do like a more detailed way on like how I edit and do my photos, maybe I can show you that in an upcoming vlog. Just let me know. This channel is definitely more lifestyle and family than beauty, so but I think that's a fun way. I mean, obviously Instagram photos, I think everyone loves to know little tricks and tips on posting and making it easier on taking pictures and how you edit them. And also there's so many like preset filters now that I've seen. but I'm just not a fan of those. Like, I just don't like the way they look. I really have a specific style, and I think you can tell from my Instagram, I've always had a specific style. Also, I'm just taking pictures with now my Barbie inspired brush. So I usually like to change up like the texture and also the color scheme, but I always find that these right here, like just the little fur rugs and stuff like that, work really well for backdrops for photos if you're taking like flat lays and stuff. Okay, so now I have a new little setup right here. I thought this would be really cute just with like the little designer books that I got off Etsy recently, and with the new brushes I thought that would look really nice. So here's like the unedited version right here. Really nice. Just thinking of different ways to take photos. It's always hard to get really creative in the morning, especially when you haven't had your coffee yet, but I'm just so excited for this new launch. So I'm not only coming out with pink brushes, but there are glitter collections that I'm doing too. So I've never done this specific glitter, type of glitter before, which is super fun. And I did an eye set and also a face trio set. The only thing I hate is I hate being a hand model for myself because I hate my hands and how small and funny they look in photos. But when you have nobody else to help you with this, it's also really hard to hold the camera sometimes. Okay. It's really fun though just to play around and get a little creative, take different kinds of shots with the brushes. So yeah, I'm just doing some flat lays, and then also I'll probably just do some individuals. I just took out all of my new brushes. I thought I would do like a full group shot and just show you all of the new launches. So if you guys didn't know, my second favorite color would be purple. So definitely lilac. That's why I launched the Lilac Glam Brush Book right after the pink, and I fell in love. Can you see how pretty that purple is? And then of course I did like a glittery lilac as well with a pink tip, and I thought those turned out really well. My mom's favorite color is also purple, so I thought that'd be fun to do. And over here we have more glitter and pink brushes. We also added the marble and rose gold. So there's just so many versatile different styles in this collection. I've actually never done a collection where so many different varieties of designs and styles. So there's definitely a lot of different variety for people to like. So I'm really happy I came out with a collection like this, just so different. Actually, not really shot it myself. So it looks like we have a little handyman project going on. Ryan took everything out of our laundry room. There's stuff everywhere, paintings that I have not put up yet. Ooh, I forgot I had this. It's very pretty. And this one's very cute too. Oh, I need to put these ones up. Not me, sorry Ryan, but you are my everything. I like that one too. So it looks like we're putting up some shelves. Oh. Wow, it's very empty in here right now. Let's see what he does. Okay. Just made my tea, my Boss Lady cup, and I've been really addicted to peppermint tea, so that's what I'm having right now. I know I look silly with my waistband, but it works. Just pulling out all my scrapbook stuff right now onto the table. So you remember I showed you these. I got these on Amazon. They're the little sticker books. So I've got tons of photos in here, and I haven't used my sticker printer in a while, my Kodak, so I'm gonna use that today, print off some new photos. Now that we are at 5 months, my goodness. So I gotta fill that up one. I also got the Paris one, this one here. I haven't even used this one, so the only scrapbook I've done is the big one. I haven't used the small little one yet. This one here. If anyone's wondering, I'll leave a link down below on this exact one that I bought off Amazon. It's actually the one that Miss Liz Hart recommended to me, and you can wear it like underneath, obviously. Like if you wear a sports bra, you're working out, you can just wear this around your waist. But I like to put it over top of my shirt because it actually really does make you sweat. even more so when you're wearing clothes, and I find it really works. Like, I've really been able to tone up my waist since having the baby girls, so I do highly recommend it. And I only paid, I think it was around $20–25. So I know it looks silly though, but that's okay, I'm only at home. And then right here, this is another Polaroid book that I have. I think I've showed you guys this one. I'll link it down below as well. I love this one. So these are like our wedding photos that we have in here. Oops. Yeah, that's the only thing. You kind of have to like tape them to stay, but that's okay. Some of me and Sophia, Ryan, Sophia and Mia, so cute. And then these are those little books that I bought here. So it's letters to the new mom, and there's letters to baby as well. That's the ones that I bought. So you can write letters and the girls will open them when they get older. I thought that was a really cute idea. And then I found more of these stickers upstairs, so I just thought I'd bring them down. So I just printed the one from our recent photo shoot for Valentine's Day, and then this one is from the Christmas one. And then the other ones I have in here are just of Mia and Sophia. A lot more to print off though, and then the app is super easy to use too, so that's what I have on here. I will link my phone case down below. I've had so many questions on where I got this done, so the link will be down below. And also how I made the collage, that's actually just from PicMonkey. I also got the cutest photo of them this morning. Look at their arms. They're always twinning. And I'm sure it's getting so hard to tell who's who here. You probably can't even tell. This is Sophia though. That's Sophia. And that's Mia right there. So cute. Look at that photo. Aww. Peekaboo! 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 Hi. You guys are goofy. Oh. Peekaboo! I wish these things moved on their own. Then you guys would be super entertained, huh? Are you two holding hands? Yeah, you are. Cutie pies. So on this side here, he put this shelf and then also this rack for hanging clothes, which is perfect. We definitely needed that. And then also these cabinets, and I think he put Max's shampoo and conditioner in there. That's what that looks like. It's so nice, I love it. And he got all this from Home Depot too. Such a little handyman. And then above the washer and dryer, he just put this shelf. So we just have like all our laundry detergent and the little containers that I showed you that I got from HomeSense. So it definitely looks really nice and clean in here now. I really like it. You guys were dream babies on the planes, weren't you? Yeah. So we actually had people come up to us like after the plane and literally were just like, you have the quietest babies. And they did not make a peep. It was actually very surprising. I totally thought that they were going to cry or be fussy at some point, especially because one of the planes we had to take 2 planes going there, 2 planes going back, 2 airports. And one of them being a really small plane, so I knew it was going to be loud, which is why we got the girls' earphones, which is a must if you are on like a smaller plane. They couldn't hear anything and they weren't fussy at all, and it was really, really loud, like it even hurt my ears, but they were fine. So I'll leave a link down below on the Amazon ones that we got, but they were really, really awesome. And they're really big, but they actually, I don't think they hurt at all. They weren't being fussy, so. and they had really high reviews as well, so that's why I got them. But we flew with Air Canada, and I usually fly Air Canada or WestJet here in Canada, and I just have to say it was like the worst experience for both of us. And it was one thing after the other, and of course, like I said, it was not the baby girls. They were angels and didn't cry, didn't fuss. Even the second plane we took to Vancouver from Toronto was 5 hours, and they were like quiet. The only thing that we had to do was feed them on the plane. We had to change them, and we both had to do it once, and then we both had to each hold the other girl when we went to the washroom. It was not very easy, but we got through it. But I think the most difficult thing was actually the airline itself. So there was no help whatsoever with anybody, and when I mean anybody, like anybody that we talked to with Air Canada was unbelievably rude and not helpful at all with twins. I was livid, like I lost my mind, and we were so like just, I think, shocked about the entire experience because we thought it was going to be so much easier, and we were like, no, you know, I'm sure people are going to be helpful and nice. And the only help we actually got were from people on the plane, but like random strangers on the plane, and we couldn't believe that there was no help from Air Canada. But anyways, I'm going to start off with the first thing. I think we got to the airport at around like 5 or 5:30 a.m. so it was an early flight. It was the first flight out, and we got like all our bag tags and everything like that. And then we asked them, because we had the girls' car seats, that we were actually gate checking. So they took everything else. We had like a lot of luggages, and we had to bring them over to the luggage carrier. And we had to take the girls out of the car seats because she said right when you go through security you have to have them out. So we took the girls out. We were holding the car seats, holding all our luggages. Ryan put one of the luggages up, and then he left the other two that we had. It was closer to where the check-in was, so he went back to go get it, and he was holding Mia. And the lady starts yelling at him, and she's like, sir, you need to have your 2 other bags on the carrier here, like you have to lift them up. And he's like, I'm going to get my other bags right now. And I just asked the lady really nicely, I was like, are you able to help him because we're both holding a baby? She straight up says to me, she's like, no. She's like, if you or your husband were alone, of course I could help, but since there's 2 of you, I can't help you. So I was like already thrown off, but I didn't want to start off my morning terribly, but I was like so thrown off on what that even meant because we were both holding a baby. It made 0 sense. So yeah, that was the first like very unhelpful thing, and Ryan and I were just too tired to even want to deal with it. So we were like, okay, so he's struggling putting up all the luggages while he's holding a baby. And it even gets me livid, like even thinking about this right now. You guys, Mama's getting upset. So I went upstairs because I don't want to like raise my voice, especially when we're trying to get the girlies to sleep. But I do want to tell you like everything that happened. So Ryan's watching them right now. So I think I left off at when we got to the airport, or sorry, when we were waiting for our flight. So we were about to board the plane, and they said that they would take the car seats out, and especially it being a smaller plane, take your car seat to like the bottom of the plane. So the first thing we obviously said, we were both holding a baby. It wasn't just one baby, but we both have our hands full. And the lady told us that they would take like our car seats. That's kind of what we thought would happen, but you actually have to physically bring it down yourself. So at this point, like this was the start of like our travels, and we were both so tired. We were both holding a baby, and I was so nervous too. Like this is the first time we were both holding the babies out, and like there being a lot of people around. I was just so nervous, like you could trip and fall and like really hurt yourself. But anyways, and it was icy too, by the way. So we've had really cold weather out here, and it was snowy, icy, which makes it even worse. And he was like, oh, and Ryan asked him and said, are you able to take out the car seats because we have our hands full? Again, no. He said, no, I'm not allowed to leave the stand. And we said, is there anybody else? He's like, no, there's nobody else to help. So thankfully, when we started walking out about halfway to the plane, and it was a really long walk, the woman down at the bottom, she actually ran up towards us, and I think she felt bad, and she's like, oh my God, let me help you. She was like, I'd say probably one of the nicest people that we had dealt with the entire time. So I thought that was really nice and sweet of her to do. And she took both the car seats from us, so we gate checked them, and then went up on the plane. And then that plane wasn't too bad. We put their earphones on. The girls were fine. They didn't scream or anything. And that was the first plane they had ever been on. And it's so funny, like when you get onto a plane, plane, you just get so many looks. I think people automatically think, oh my God, there's twins. Like they're like, you know, they're scared and they're like, oh my God, I hope I'm not sitting next to them. But they were angels. They did not cry. Like I was shocked. But they did an amazing job on their first like plane ride. So then we got to Toronto. When we got to Toronto, we had to catch our next flight, which was within an hour. So like we were kind of rushing there. I never knew this before until I traveled with twins, is you actually can't sit beside each other, and it's because you can only have one infant per row. So it's 4 per row, and then we would already make it 4. So the only way we would be able to, if there was like a complete empty row, which I mean, maybe next time we'll think about it, but I'm still not even sure. I'm not for sure if you can even have 2 infants, because they seem to have a really big problem with having 2 infants in one row. So we were never allowed to sit together, but that's okay. So we sat aisle in aisle, and I almost always asked before the plane, because we were actually seated. I was seated, I think, the row behind him. So I asked if we were able to move, and she said she couldn't move us, so that was another pain in the butt. Brian and I actually got really lucky on that flight because it was so dead that there was nobody seated in the seats like next to him or me. So we ended up going in the same aisle and then had nobody seated next to us, which was life-saving for that first plane ride, because you just get exhausted. We were holding the girls the whole time. And I know some of you may ask like, oh, did you bring like the baby carriers? So the thing with that is, we were already so hot. Like I honestly can't even imagine putting that thing on. And I find them pretty difficult to put on, especially if you're doing it on your own and on a plane too, like where it's so, like we had no room. There's no room. We didn't get special seats where we had more leg room or anything like that. Like we were really squished, and I just felt safer and better like having, like holding the baby, and same with Ryan, and we both didn't wear them. And I think it would, especially for him, like guys' clothes is already so heavy. Like I can't imagine, we were both sweating already, like, so it would have just been like even hotter and harder to do, I think. But anyways, but we do own those. Like I do have like the thinner one and then the backpack version as well. So we do have them, but we didn't bring them. So yeah, anyways, it was just nice not having anyone next to us. Okay, and then I don't want to make this too long, but then obviously you saw my Vancouver trip. It was amazing. The girls' first trip. It was the last vlog I did. So I mean, we had the best trip of our lives, and it was just amazing. And me and Sophia were so happy meeting everybody, family and friends. I know I talked about that in the last video I did. And then coming back here, complete nightmare, complete nightmare. So on the way back we did Vancouver to Toronto, and it was a shorter flight than when you're going there, which was nice. So it did go by fairly quickly, but we took like the later flight out so we could stay longer in Vancouver. So we got, I think, to Toronto like 11:30 p.m. I think I had to change Sophia 2 times on the plane, and then we both had to feed the girls as well. So on the plane it's really, really tight and squishy. In the washroom it's not the easiest to change the girls, but on that flight it wasn't too bad. So landed in Toronto, we saw that our flight was canceled. I was just like, no. Like we were so tired by this point. And Ryan also, so through the airport, the next plane that we have to take is literally at the end of the airport, so he had to hold the girls. We both had backpacks on as well, so that was heavy, and then he had to actually hold both the girls in the car seats, so he got a really good arm workout, but he was exhausted. So we ended up going to some line, and it was already a really long line with everyone that got everyone's flight that got canceled. They were wondering what was going on and so forth. So it was because of the weather, and there in Toronto it got hit with a lot of snow. Anyway, so they said, we'll send you the new flight in the morning, and that there's not another flight that night. So I was like, great, well, we can't stay at the airport with babies. So we ended up staying at the hotel airport. And at first we even were thinking of like renting a car because we didn't know how bad the weather it was, but I'm glad we didn't. But there were no cars even available. Like that wasn't even an option, which I've never seen that before. Like all of the cars were not available. Or I forget to mention too, I just wanted, like every single time that Ryan and we took turns going up to one of like the flight people, like, you know, when you're waiting for your flight and the person like at the gate that checks your passport or whatnot. So that person there, every time we spoke to one of those people, they were so rude to us every time. And all we had asked was, are you able to put us in the same aisle? And that's exactly the words that we would say, like, same aisle. And she's like, you can't sit in the same row. And we're like, what? We didn't, like, and I'm like, we've already flown, like, coming here, like we know this. And she's like, okay, well, no, I can't. Like, so rude. And like, I really could not believe the customer service. It was so terrible. And like, I just, yeah, it's honestly just like, especially when you're traveling with twins, like you just, like, and they see that you're traveling with twins, it's just very shocking that they're just so rude and unhelpful. Anyways, I didn't want to forget adding that part in. And then when we get to the hotel, and it's the Sheraton that's connected to the Toronto airport, and the second we get there, the line is like super long, and I'm like, great. By this time the girls are getting hungry, and Ryan quickly went on bookings.com, and we decided to book a room just to make sure that we got one, because I couldn't imagine what would happen if we didn't, because there'd be nowhere else to go. Anyways, so we booked our room, and then right when we got up to the front desk, which it took like I think 20 or 30 minutes, he said he still didn't see like a booking with us, and was checking the reference, asked for Ryan's name, asked all these questions, and I don't know what was going on, but he was taking forever, like 30, this must have been 30 minutes, and I'm not even exaggerating, and it might have even been longer. And I could tell, like, I think Ryan was obviously getting a little frustrated too, because he kept giving him the same information, and he's like, okay, are you doing something? Then he finally said, okay, well, I've been checking to see if the booking, if it's showing up in our system yet, the third party that you ordered it from, sometimes it takes a while. So he was literally waiting for it to go through. So I'm like, by this point, I'm like, okay, I have 2 babies, they need to eat, we need a room. I'm like, charge my card, reimburse me after. I don't care. I'm like, I'll pay for another room right now and you can figure it out. And he's like, I would have to get my manager and deal with all this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't have time for that. I'm like, I have 2 crying babies right now. And by this point, Mia and Sophia were very fussy. And to be with 2 crying babies is not the best feeling. So I was just very livid by this point. And Ryan, I remember saying, he's like, whoa, twin mom gone crazy. And it's so true. I'm sure so many moms have been in that, or have experienced just like being at your last point, you know what I mean? Like, I was just at the last point where I'm like, okay, I just need you to get me a room. So anyways, he went to go get his manager, and we're still standing there for another 15 minutes. So I finally just go to someone else in the line, and I'm like, can you book me a room right now? She's like, no problem. I'm like, good. And I'm like, can you, and then she's also like, oh, let me get you 2 cribs as well. I can see that you're with 2 babies. I'm like, thank you. So she books the room. They finally come out of this private room that they were talking in for 20 minutes, the manager and the guy we had spoken to. And they looked kind of like they were, you know, gonna be all like have to defend themselves about the way that they went about things. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, we already booked a room. And he's like, oh, okay. And then the other guy, I guess, like Ryan, I didn't see the guy, but apparently the guy was crying. But I'm like, you know what? Maybe you deserve that, because when you make like babies wait for over an hour and a half in a line just to get a room, it's a little ridiculous. I could not believe it. It was insane. After all the like airport chaos we already dealt with, I could not believe that we just could not get a room. And I even told him, I said, charge my card. Anyway, so we ended up canceling the booking and just doing it through the hotel, and I didn't care at that point, but they did give us she did give us the same rate. Anyways, though, when we got upstairs, we also Ryan had to go get formula. It was just honestly chaos. We were so tired by this point, and then our flight got canceled again from 8 a.m. to afternoon. So I'm like, you know what, that's fine, we can sleep a few hours anyways. And then we go to the airport, and I have to say, this was the worst flight and experience out of the entire thing. And the first thing I did when I got there, because when they cancel a flight, they actually don't do assigned seating, so we already had assigned seats. So the first thing I did was I asked if you can change the seat. So Ryan and I are aisle in aisle, and we kind of have to be because we're constantly passing things to each other. And anyways, so she changed our seats, and we were both seated next to each other. And then when we got to the airport, we had to feed the girls at the airport, which was fine. We were used to that by that point. And then we were waiting for the plane, and then I noticed that they never did like first board seating. Like, they were never like, oh, anyone that needs assistance or babies first. They never said that. So they let everyone board. And then that plane as well, like the smaller plane, you have to walk out to, so it was freezing. Like, it was in the minus in Toronto, and it was snowing, it was slippery. They're like, oh, watch your step. And again we ask if they could take our car seats because it's slippery. they couldn't. Like, can you believe that they actually say no to this? Like, it blows my mind. So they said no again, and I think it was 2 or 3 people that had seen like the pain and the struggle that we were having. So we were trying to get the girls out of the car seats and about to go in the freezing cold, and I'm like, we need to wait until everyone's boarded the plane and go on last. So that's what we were doing, and 3 people were so sweet to wait with us, and they actually stood more in the colder part of the airport so we didn't have to, and they told us like when to go out and that we could go in front of them and you know, not freeze with the babies outside. So they were kind enough to do that. And then one of the guys, and I think Ryan actually recognized him from high school or something, he went up to us and he's like, I can see you guys are having a really hard time and I can't believe they're not helping you. I would love to take your car seats and let me put them and take them wherever you have to take them to. So I was like, that's just so sweet that you would do that. So this person took our car seats underneath the plane, and sometimes you have to wait too, like, because they're already putting like luggages and stuff down there. So like, anyways, so he took the car seats, he put them underneath the plane for us. And we were about last on the plane, by the way, so everyone else is seated. It's really quiet too because they didn't start the plane yet, and it's a small plane. And I noticed the row that we were in, there's someone seated in Ryan's window seat, which is where she should be sitting. And then in my row, it was someone seated, excuse me, in my seat, which would be the aisle seat. So first thing I say, I said, oh, excuse me, I said we're both in these 2 aisle seats. And then the lady next to me says, she's like, no, you're not. Like, actually yells at me and says, no, you're not. She's like, I'm the aisle. And then I'm like, I was just so thrown off because we were both holding babies, and like, okay, sure. Like, you think that this was my seat, by the way, but that's fine. And I was still really nice at this point. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I just wanted to sit down. Like, that's all I wanted to do because we were both so tired holding the girls. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I have my baby and we actually have twins. I have my husband right behind me, and it's just a little easier since we have to pass things to each other. Like, do you mind if I sit in the aisle? And she doesn't say yes. She's like, you know, I'm in pain. And then I'm like, oh, okay, like, well, I said, even for me to get into the window seat, which is your seat, you would need to move. Like, I said that to her because she would need to move. And she's like, you know what? She's like, I'll just move over to the window seat and I'll sit there, but just so you know, I'm in pain. And then I'm like, why are you in pain? And then she's like, I had to, you know, like, my flight got canceled and I had to stay at the airport. And I'm like, do you not think we needed to do that as well? I said, did you do that with twins? And by this time, I'm just so frustrated that someone could be so inconsiderate to someone that has 2 newborn 4-month-old babies. So, I mean, whatever, that's completely fine. Maybe she's not, you know, baby friendly, that's fine. And I'm assuming she probably thought, okay, I don't want to sit next to a baby, like it's gonna be crying the entire time. I just couldn't believe how rude that was. Like, I would give any seat to any new mom, like, especially when you could tell she's like clearly stressed, and Ryan was clearly stressed too. Unbelievable. Even it gets me like a little livid even thinking about it. But okay, so yeah, anyway, she ended up moving over, and then it was so funny because the lady behind her was like, you guys have the cutest babies, I'll help you hold the babies anytime. And she was just making a joke because I think she knew how rude the lady was to us, and we were like, oh, thank you, that's so kind. So here we are, we're kind of trying to get into like our seats, get our seatbelts on, and it's really hard to like hold a baby, put a seatbelt on. So any new mom that has traveled with like newborns, bravo to you, because it's not easy and it's stressful. So we were on our last plane, and yeah, we were trying to do up the seatbelt, and then the flight attendant goes up to Ryan, and this is probably where Ryan was the most frustrated. So the flight attendant, and I sort of was like pick on us day, I didn't know what was going on, so I had the lady next to me that was unbelievably rude, and I had to sit next to her the whole time when she like did not want anything to do with like my baby. Like, Sophia was kind of looking at her, and she was kind of like, and then and then before I forget to say, Sophia made like a little crying noise. She was like a little upset when we first got onto the plane, just getting seated and everything. And she goes, ah. Like, I was gonna say something, but I was like, you know what? I'm not, because this lady is just an unhappy, miserable person, and there's no point. So, anyways, the flight attendant says to Ryan, he had his backpack underneath, and she says to Ryan, she's like, sir, she's like, you need to put your backpack the other way. And he's trying to get his seatbelt on with Mia right now. And he's like, he's like, really? He's like, what's wrong with my backpack? And then she's like, well, because it was pushed back the whole way, but I guess it was upside down, so you have to have it the other way, which I've never heard that before, ever. I've never had someone say that to me, and I'm pretty sure my backpack was the same way as Ryan's. So then she says right after, she's like, also, I noticed that you guys have 2 babies in the aisle. We actually don't like that. If you can move seats. He's like, he's like, I'm not moving seats right now. He's like, what we just went through, I'm not moving seats at all. So she's like, oh, and then I'm like, we've flown with sitting in the aisle seats the entire time. We also had our seats booked that way, so we already know that's not a problem. And it's like, it's just personal for me because I don't want to hit the baby. And I said, we're going to be holding them by our shoulder, so that's fine, you know, like. And then she's like, okay. And then she was all snarly with Ryan, and then I was just like, oh, I'm gonna let Ryan handle this one, because I just wanted to sit down. And he was just shocked that, and she even said to him, she's like, sir, like, you seem to be upset right now. Is there something I can help you with? And he's like, I'm trying to put on my seatbelt, hold my baby, put my bag underneath, like grab things that I need for the plane. Like, you're not doing anything right now. Like, what are you doing besides telling me to put my bag underneath the seat when it's already correctly under there? So I think she was just like, I don't know, like she was having a bad day too. It was just like one after the other, like a bad experience. So we were just really unlucky with that. And I remember how good it felt to get home. I was like, after that long, exhausting experience. And like I said, it was, oh, and the same guy, I forgot to mention, sorry, because he was amazing again. Right when we got off the plane, he was, and I'm thinking, oh, we have to grab the car seats, right, and go underneath, and he already had them. Like, he was already waiting there, and he's like, please let me know where in the airport you're gonna sit, and I'll bring them. So he brought them out to us, and like, that guy was just so nice to do that. And there were very, very helpful people, but it was all like people that were actually flying on the plane. And there's even a random lady flying from Toronto to Vancouver that said, if you guys get tired, I would love to take your babies. Like, you know, it makes me miss my babies when they were small and stuff like that. I think that's so sweet for people to offer that. But anyways, yeah, so I wanted to just kind of get that off my chest. And I'm sure you guys have stories too, or like an experience where, you know, you were just, it wasn't the best and people were not the nicest, and that was exactly what I experienced with Air Canada. Like, I could not believe it. And even like, I'm dealing with a refund right now of the hotel. That's even been a struggle, and we were told that we were supposed to get refunded on the actual flight, which they're not. And I'm like, by this point, I'm just like, whatever, like, it is what it is. But we don't want to fly Air Canada like ever again. And we might go Delta, or like, we're cross-border city, so we might even go the US way next time instead of going the Canada route, because that was just terrible, like our first experience. But anyways, my hand is sore now because I don't have my tripod in here. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed my mama rant, and let me know in the comments below if you've dealt with anything similar, or like if you've had any bad baby experiences of people being rude. Anyways, I don't know how someone can not like babies either. Like, that woman I was seated next to was the worst, the worst. Anyways though, I'm gonna go downstairs and we're about to have some lunch, and I hope you enjoyed watching this morning vlog, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to do. And yeah, anyways, I will see you guys in the next vlog.